Donald Trump sat down for an interview with Tucker Carlson last night, and it was a measured, insightful, engaging, and thought-provoking conversation that showed a different side of the former president. Just kidding, it was kind of bad shit. Take a look.
The weaponry today is so powerful. This isn't like Second World War where we have army tanks running around shooting each other. This is weapons the likes of which the world has never seen before.
So Trump spent his time on air ranting and raving about a litany of issues, from foreign policy to his so-called friendship with Gavin Newsom and the environmental issue called nuclear warming that no one is talking about.
When I listen to people talk about global warming, that the ocean will rise in the next 300 years by 1/8 of an inch, and they talk about this is our problem. Our big problem is nuclear warming. I mean, nobody even talks about it. The environmentalists talk about all this nonsense in many cases. Look, I'm an environmentalist also, I guess, in my own way, because I've done a good job with the environment, but nobody talks about nuclear.
This is all in front of the backdrop of Tucker's own texts being leaked recently, calling the former president a, quote, demonic force, and that the anchor passionately hated him. But let's get back to this clip in particular about those tanks shooting at each other during World War II. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a political talking head without a coherent ideological argument will at some point just make a random reference to World War II, and that trope is on full display on Fox News as they attempt to fit the Second World War into their bizarre narrative of what's going on now. So Trump was in good company on this one, as just last week Tucker did a bit of historical revisionism himself on his show.
We've seen it before. Of course, you know the famous pictures from Germany in the early 20s. Banknotes and wheelbarrows. When I buy a cup of coffee, that'll be 30 pounds of currency. Kids playing with worthless stacks of Deutschmarks. That was called Weimar, the Weimar Republic. And that government collapsed because of hyperinflation. And then economic collapse led to communist revolutions across Germany and ultimately to, fill in the blank, the Nazi regime. That's well known. In fact, it's a cliche at this point.
So now, to be fair, not all of what Tucker's saying is an outright lie. Weimar Germany, that is Germany in the interwar period of the 30s, was marred by political extremism, with much of the population gravitating towards the extreme right or the extreme left due to economic reasons. But just because there are some larger historical trends in common does not mean we can copy and paste the conflict into the context of our modern day. But this is a tactic Tucker uses to scare people into submission and to instill fear into his audience that we are on the brink of World War III. Because, as we know, Fox's business model relies on instilling fear and mistrust into our government. And yeah, I'm going to do the thing that low information political commentators do, but rule by fear and intimidation certainly does remind me of a famous authoritarian regime from Europe in the mid-20th century. If you want to see more of my coverage on The Breakdown, stay right here. You can watch my latest video on Trump supporters abandoning the Donald in his time of need by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at CaroJohnson917.